If everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and have Coach Kelsey start us off with an opening statement.
I've been in coaching for a long time and have known of Coach Heath. I've talked to him and met him on several occasions, but I have the utmost respect for him. He's been a head coach for a long, long time, both at the college and at the professional level. He's got a good team. I really believe, the MAC's a heck of a conference, and I really believe a couple months from now we'll look back on this and this will be a good win because I think they're gonna be a contender in that league. They have really good pieces. They're a strong physical team, and I was proud of our guys. I felt like we met that physical challenge tonight. We knew it was going to be that type of game. I thought we got a huge boost off of the bench. Kanai, Ali, Adrian, and Kobe, I thought gave us a huge boost. And in the locker room afterwards, we always pick out a couple guys, and I mentioned them. And the guys were all excited when I got to Ollie, and they cheered. And I said, okay, here's Ollie's line. 11 points, and they all cheered. 6 rebounds, and they all cheered. 5 assists, they all cheered. And I said, drum roll. And they did a drum roll. And I said, 3 blocks. And they all went crazy. So I thought it was kind of funny. Guess you guys didn't feel the same way. But fortunate to come out with a win. We got a quick turnaround. Got to recover tonight. Got to be smart with what we do in practice tomorrow from a physical standpoint. We got to have a great day of preparation, both on film and walkthrough. Get ready for another battle on Wednesday.
Questions for Coach Kelsey? Raise your hand. We've got Mike Fletcher on the room, Sean, and then Russ if we need one.
Coach, you always talk about never letting offense dictate your effort defensively. And, game started out a little slow. I believe it was 4-4 at the end of the first segment. But it seemed like tonight the guys were really locked in and tenacious defensively. Can you just talk about that effort that they gave?
I agree. I felt like we played really hard on the defensive end. Like I said, their metrics and everything that I've studied on film going in, ton of respect for those guys, and to hold them to 0.7 something points per possession. That's really, really good. They have a bunch of dangerous pieces, and we were very attentive to the scouting report. And you're right, early on, I thought we were generating really good shots, but we didn't allow missing those shots. We had some chippies around the rim. We had some open threes, missed a couple free throws, but we continued to guard. I thought in the first half especially, we were elite defensively. I felt like there was a little lull there in the second half, right about the 12-minute media, when we just got a little bit lazy off the ball. I felt our friction in the pick and roll wasn't as good. And they knew when we came to the 8-minute media, and I wasn't happy, but I felt like we went out after that and responded and really upped our defense and finished the right way.
And as far as Cleveland is concerned, is that the kind of game he's capable of more than once? That's the first question. And do you have any problem with him shooting threes in a closer game?
No. You're open, shoot it. That's why I came to Louisville. Ollie's a really good shooter. He's got a great touch. It's one of the things that makes him really difficult to guard at the 5 position, is because you got to make some hard decisions on pick and roll with him. Because if you're in drop coverage like they were today, he's going to be open on those throwbacks, and he makes them at a really good clip. So, that puts fear in other coaches and opponents' mind when they're scouting us and preparing, because he's a good 3-point shooter. I encourage guys to shoot more, because 3-point rate is important to me as well. To me, that's almost more important than percentage, as crazy as that sounds. I mean, obviously you have to be able to shoot at enough of a percentage to be somewhere around 1 point per shot, but the first thing I do is I look at rate. If I go to the line, if a guy's not shooting a good percentage, but 40% of his overall shots are threes, that he's a guy that you got to respect his ability to shoot the ball. So I'm glad he got those attempts, and I want him to shoot every time he's open.
Yeah, with Kaysen being out tonight, I was just curious if that happened during the game against Cincinnati, like when he entered the concussion protocol. Was that stemming from a blow he took during that game?
Yeah.
And then my follow-up question, just asking about Sananda, because he missed most of the first half. I think he left with like 10 minutes ago, sat out and played only 5
Yeah, he had a tough fall, and they evaluated him, and he was able to come back in the game.
Yeah, but he's still doing all right. I think he played just like 5 minutes in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't, I mean, seemed fine in the locker room.
Anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Pat, just with Kenai, obviously, people see, box scores, they see points and stuff like that, but, it always seems like he's at the top or near the top in plus minus. Just how important is he, as a defensive player, and what kind of spark does he provide defensively when he comes off the bench?
Yeah, I mean that's the role of a guy coming off the bench, is to not maintain the status quo when you come in, but to raise the level of play. And that's why I mentioned all of those guys that came off the bench today, because I thought every one of them did that. You mentioned Kenai. He's been that spark for us. Kobe's been a big spark for us. Adrian, call him AD, has been that spark for us. Ali, I mean, that depth to know that when those guys come in and guys need a blow, they can go in and really affect the game in a positive way. But Kenai's energy, his toughness, his length, he plays so hard, he plays physical. I love the play late in the game when Javon had it opposite our bench on a mismatch in the post, and we threw it into him, and he started making his post move, and then Kenai moves on the opposite side of the floor right in front of where I was standing, and you could see him signaling to Javon that he had Isaac's man teed up for a big flare screen. And Javon threw a dime, and Kenai set that screen, and Isaac made that shot. That is winning basketball. We call those screen assists, and we celebrate those. And that's great basketball. That's an example of the type of winning plays that a guy like him makes.
Just a quick follow-up. Is that something you chart, the screen assist? Is that something
Oh,
you
yeah.
chart as well? And
Absolutely.
is that something that does he lead the team? in that much?
I think Javon Hadley was the best player screener I've ever coached, and I've said that last year, and I kept saying Kenai was his apprentice, and he's like slowly started to, because that's, we're hard to guard because, we got a bunch of dangerous pieces, but when the pick and roll's occurring, there's a bunch of stuff happening opposite the ball, whether it's cutting, whether it's movement, or it's backside screening action. But that's beautiful basketball to me, and it's very, very selfless. But yeah, you see in practice like those gold jerseys that guys wear, there's all type of things that go into that formula that dictates, where guys rank at the end of the week in efficiency. But one of the things that you get points for is screen assists. So it's not just making baskets or making assists, although that's baked into it as well.
Coach, just talk a little bit about Adrian Willie. He had 3 steals today, 9 points, just tireless effort defensively. He went up and tried to dunk on, so he almost had the highlight of the night, but just it feels like he's starting to get more and more comfortable and more and more assertive. Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying to you guys. Just as he continues to get comfortable and progress, look out. The sky's the limit. He's a terrific player, but you're right. He was a dog, man. He was all over the offensive glass, the amount of hustle plays he was making, the 50-50 balls that he was getting, keeping possessions alive, defending. He's so tough. Great teammate. The guys love him, and big boost. I was just so proud of those bench guys. I thought they really provided an unbelievable spark and were a huge part of the victory tonight.
And how much do you like the fact that now you only have a day to prepare? It's a short turnaround, and as a staff, is this something that you've got to use for future and for for the postseason?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a different process because your time's so short, and it's diminishing returns if you go out there and you try to go live and run through the other team's plays and do all that stuff. So it challenges your guys to be very efficient, and we have a very mature team, and they'll be terrific. We always say we challenge them to be in the 1%, the 1%. And out of 370 teams in the country, we say there's 4, and we're trying to be in that 4. Now, there's no scoreboard, but it's all those little things. It's attention to detail. It's the quality of film sessions we have. It's the GBT, the great basketball talk that's going on in our walkthroughs. We'll give them bite-sized type of concepts in a one-day turnaround. It's not as extensive as when you have 2 or 3 days. But it's great practice for when this happens in conference play and in tournament play.
Anything else for Coach Kelsey? All right, great, thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Chief,
Thank you.